you're going through your head, what am I doing here? Why have I done this? What, what possessed me to take it this far? And he came shuffling in, shh, shh, shh. And you can hear him, one gate close, shuffling, another gate closes. And walks in was this short, fat, gray, old man. Not anything what I expected him to look like. And we just talked. We talked about everything. We talked about everything from life in prison to sex. And we talked about, are you scared? And his whole thing has always been like, I can't find time to worry about something I have no control over. If it happens, it happens.
Bosley, go ahead, pull the chain.
The day after he was found guilty, should execute him.
Tomorrow morning, John Wayne Gacy, you're gonna wake up dead.
If you would take this out of its context, you could say this is a pretty twisted picture, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great, though. It's so funny.
Yeah?
That's hilarious. That's humor. To me, that's funny.
Oh, yeah? Why? Why?
It's just great. You're sitting there hugging a man who could have easily taken the life out of your breath. You know, my dad, a very simple man, once said, "You'll never know how cold the devil's hand is until you shake it." Always kind of pushing us to learn new things, whether they scare you or not, that if you don't do them, you're going to regret not doing it. And, doing this is just, I'll never regret. It's just something that I'll always remember and I'll always, cherish as, if anything, a very great experience.
Although never convicted of murder itself, Charlie Manson represents the gargoyle head of the family, symbolic antithesis of the flower kid of the 60s. Some thought of Manson as Jesus Christ reborn, or the Son of Man. From the Spawn Movie Ranch Empire on the night of August 8, 1969, a group of young hippies who viciously murdered, mutilated, and tortured Sharon Tate and her 3 guests. 2 nights later, they also murdered Mr. and Mrs. LaBianca. These were members in good standing of the Manson family.
Wow, it's still here. Wow, look at that.
What's that?
It's the Charlie Rock. It's been here as long as we've been coming here. We assume that the family did it. As you can see, it's a C and then an M, and it's been carved in here. And through erosion and lots of rain, it's still here. And of course, here is a cross.
Who did that?
We believe the original family members did it. John? Been here as long as...
Nobody really knows.
Nobody really knows. It could be some prankster, too. But we like to think it was the family. Anyway, welcome to the Spawn Ranch. It's now August 1994. In August 1969, on August 8th and 9th, there were the killings of Sharon Tate and her guests, and the second day, Lino and Rosemary LaBianca. The family stayed on this ranch in '69. At the time of those killings,
All the buildings are up there, but they burned down in 1970.
yeah, the buildings are up there.
Were.
Were, yes, on the other side of the road.
Charlie? I know it's you. Come on.
So what was going on here in this particular part?
I would say they were probably dropping acid. and
Playing music.
playing cowboys and Indians and other games of theirs. The river was a river then. Now it's kind of a little stream, and they would go and occasionally bathe in there at that time in '69. What else would they have done here? Possibly had a picnic. As I said, they lived predominantly on garbage and handouts from Dennis Wilson.
The Beach Boy.
Yeah, they took up residence with him, and he paid for a lot of their medical and dental bills.
Why did he do that?
I guess probably because of the sex and the drugs. He already had the rock and roll.
A mechanical man, and I do the best I can because I have my family out. I am a mechanical boy. I am my mother's toy.
Acid was used in pot, if I'm correct,
Probably.
and speed was forbidden, although on the night of the
It wasn't forbidden to Tex and Sadie.
Tex and Sadie had their own little stash jar, kind of, so to speak, and they were doing quite a lot of it, as we believe, on the night of August 8th, and probably before that for a few days, so they were quite awake.
Well, I think they all knew each other.
I do too.
You mean the people who did the killings and the victims?
Yes.
Well, before Sharon lived at the Tate house, it was Terry Melcher's house. And Terry Melcher was helping the family put out a record album, which he eventually decided not to do. And then Terry moved to the Malibu Beach house, and Sharon and Roman rented it. And then Charlie went over there one time to see Terry, but Rudy and Sharon answered the door instead. So it's a total lie that they thought that Terry still lived there and that they were after him because of the record deal that didn't happen.
Oh, that's one of the explanations that isn't true, you mean?
Yeah.
Terry Melcher was the record producer who also produced the Beach Boys, right? Wasn't that so?
Yeah.
Doris Day's son.
Is that so?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then there's been times when Charlie claimed he had sex with Doris Day.
And you think that's true?
It's
Oh,
possible.
you should have seen the things he said about Jane Fonda. Ooh, that's more embarrassing than Jane does know, but we can't say.
No?
No. We'll just say it doesn't involve humans.
But the whole thing's extremely complicated, and there's all these missing pieces.
Are you still trying to figure out exactly what happened?
Yeah. And the other movies is like the Manson family movies. There's rumors that they stole video equipment from some television station and that they made movies of their own right here, a lot of them right here at the Spahn Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a movie called Manson the Documentary. And some of that may have actually been shot by the family. And then there's a story that they did things like recreated the Tate murders. And that's what my movie, Manson Family Movies, is all about. What if the Manson family did do these recreation movies? after the murders and when they found out that Tex Watson and the Manson family had been involved in it, and then there was like all these headlines that claiming that Manson caused all these other people to kill. I got really interested in it because I thought that was extremely ridiculous.
Why did you think that was ridiculous?
Because people do what they want to do and they do it. They're responsible for their own actions.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be basically some kind of witchcraft if somebody could actually cause other people to kill.
If you insist on interrupting this court, I'll have no choice but to have you removed. Call the next witness.
I'll have you removed. I got a little system here.
Mr. Manson, you are instructed to silence yourself. Call the next witness.
Do you think I'm kidding?
I was 13 years old, and I read the paper every day before going to school. And those days only courtroom sketches were allowed. It's quite different now with court TV. And I remember quoting Charlie at the dinner table at night for my parents, much to their chagrin. But a lot of things that he had to say were, I don't know, slightly offbeat, metaphysical. They made sense in a way. They made sense to the youth of the time period.
What kind of things, for instance?
I think one that's kind of funny would be no sense makes sense, or it wasn't my children that came at you with knives, it was your children, which I thought that was kind of good. And it was interesting when the trial would go on that without cues or anything, the three females, Susan Atkins, Leslie Van Houten, and Patricia Krenwinkel would rise and sing Charlie songs or spout things about pigs and stuff like that. And what else? During the trial. They did a lot of shenanigans. Sometimes they weren't allowed in the courtroom.
The Nixon statement.
Yeah.
What was that?
Charlie snuck a newspaper into the courtroom and opened it up so the jury could see it, and the headline was Nixon declares Manson guilty. And then all the girls jumped up and said, the president has declared us guilty. Why go on with the trial?
Hail Krishna, hail Satan, hail Manson. I believe that Manson is an incarnation of Krishna, Vishnu, and all of the gods in general. Manson is an interesting character in the way that he's very godly in what he says. He says that you should become nothing and become a void. And that's what life is actually all about before anything started. And when he predicted the race war, it actually happened. If you look at the Los Angeles riots, which everyone heard about all over the world, Manson had predicted that over 25 years ago. And that happened here in Los Angeles, where Helter Skelter started. We're at the El Coyote restaurant on Beverly Boulevard here in LA, which is where the Last Supper occurred. This is where we go on our annual pilgrimage of Helter Skelter Night, which is a religious pilgrimage for us every August 8th. This is the last place where Sharon Tate, Abigail Folger, Jay Sebring, and Wojciech Frykowski, the ones that died on Helter Skelter Night, had their Last Supper. Helter Skelter actually means that everything is going to go into complete chaos before everything pure starts happening again and a new race of people are reborn, super people.
But isn't it kind of sick to celebrate